to make this, I would say, more masculine card. Not to say you couldn't give that to a lady, but I definitely had the boys in mind when I made this card. And I feel like the set I've used is called Rustic Retreat. Sorry, get my words out. And I just feel like it gets hidden in the catalogue and people flick past it. But actually, I really love this set. I think it's got some really nice words in it, even if you just wanted to use it yourself. And okay, we don't get bears in this country, but you know, they're still cute. And I've done things with the cottage before, so really nice. Like I say, on the masculine side, I would say, for this one. The colour palette that I used was Soft Suede, Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, and then I chucked in Pacific Point for a nice little pop of colour for the sentiment. Okay, so that's what we're doing. I've already cut some bits and pieces in advance, just because, you know, you want to see how it's put together, really, rather than all the fussing about. So I'm using very vanilla cardstock for the card base. This is my usual card base at 4 1/8 wide, scored at 5 7/8, and my very vanilla layer is 3 by 4 3/4, and then this is 3 1/8 by 4 7/8 of an inch for the. This is soft suede for the layer. I'll do the framing, and I've already cut a stitched circle from the Stitched Shapes framelit. So this is the second largest of the circles in that particular collection. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper because we're going to do a bit of stamping potentially over the edge of things. And the first thing we're going to get done is this beautiful stag. So that's soft suede ink. Those of you who might be new to stamping and Stampin' Up products, did you see how I opened the stamps, the ink pads? So they're a bit different to most on the market that have a lift-off lid. These ones open a bit like a compact mirror, like so, and once they're fully open you can slide them together to give you a firm base. So you're not losing any lids and you're not going to get them mixed up, which is really cool. And so this is soft suede. They are a foam-based ink pad, and they are. I've never re-inked one yet, to be fair, and I do a lot of stamping. So light tapping on the ink pad to cover the red rubber. In this case, we have the red rubber cling stamps and we have photopolymer stamps. So in this case, it's red rubber. Position, hover over the image. Over the cardstock. Hover your image over the cardstock until you're happy with where it's going to land, and I'm going to put him there. And that's gone straight down, and I'm just putting some gentle but firm pressure all over the stamp block, and then I'm going to lift straight up, and then you get this wonderful crisp image. Let's just put away that out of the way just for a moment, because I don't think I need that again actually, so let's just put that away. So if I bring that up to the camera, look how sharp, when it did flash into focus, and now it's gone again. There we are. Really sharp, crisp image that you get with Stampin' Up. There must be some sticky stuff on the bottom of that piece of paper. Okay, so that's that guy done for the moment, and while we've got the scrap paper in, we will going to put our tree line in the background for him. So this is going to be done with Mossy Meadow, so quite a dark green. This actually is part of the neutral family now. This is a returning colour from years ago. It came back to us in 2019 and now sits in the neutrals family. Now, as you may remember from the sample that I showed you, the deer image is going to go across the middle, So if it ends up a little bit messy and like overlapping in a weird and wonderful way in the middle, it's not going to show. I'm just sort of picking out different parts of the stamp to use underneath it. See how I'm just using this left portion, and over there I'll just use that portion, but I use the full bit over there, so it makes it look like you're using a different image, when in actual fact you're just using different portions of the image. And then, like I say, if we put that over the top there, you just get that illusion of something else going on in the background, but you've got no idea about all that muckiness in the that's going on. And when I placed that there, I felt like there just needed to be something else peeking in here, so literally just gonna catch the edge there. I felt that, I'm sure that's gonna make that look just a teensy bit more balanced. Yep, and then we just want a little bit of a tail in there. Okay, so that's that background done. We don't need to do any more with that, and in fact, whilst it's here, let's just get the glue on that and adhere it to the soft suede layer. If I can find my seal, here it is. Stampin' Seal adhesive is very nice and quick to use, just glides on, just like that. We'll get this prepared so it's ready to go, like so. And then we've got something else to do with this guy, because we're going to switch now to Old Olive and bring in the sort of fir branches, if you like. And we're just going to bring this in around the edge of our stag, like he's standing in the forest when we're looking through a vignette of the woodland. Okay, so that's that. Just a little bit around the edge, that's all we need. Okay, he's done with. And then on the background card, we want to use the same set and the same stamp, sorry, and the same Old Olive ink, which I'm just going to move to one side. And we're going to do what we call second generation ink. Use second generation ink as well. Some sticky stuff on there somewhere. Just rub that away. Easy, gone. So, light tapping on the ink pad, and we're going to go straight in with our first image at the top here. And then for our next one down the pile, instead of going straight on the card, we're going to stamp it off onto the paper first, and then add in the image there, and it just looks a little lighter than the original image. So that's what we're going for. We're going to continue to stamp that in, and what we're going to do is twist and turn this image so it looks a little more interesting, rather than just using the same orientation all the time. So that's what we're going to do. And let's twist that one around this way. I've slightly changed my camera setup, which means I just keep looking up at you, but just to make sure everything's still in shot, even though most of the time I'm certain it is. But there we are. I've been having experimenting with some other ways of filming these videos, but I've ended up going back to what I was doing before anyway. Just wasn't getting the results I wanted from the other things I've tried, so we're back to this. And I was having a few sound issues, but I think I've resolved those now as well. So all good. bit more this way. And then slot that in wherever it will fit. There. Okay. So a bit of just random stamping around the edge, and that just gives the whole layout a little bit more interest. Slide those away, and I think we're almost ready to start putting things together. Move away that scrap. So there's our card base, and we can put our layout on. What did I do? There it is. Oh, I had it a moment ago. Where's it gone? The Stampin seal is actually stronger than the snail product that we carried before, so you just need a few lines of it across your cardstock, and that will stick beautifully. And just don't press it down until you're absolutely certain it's straight, or at least as straight as you think you're going to get it. That will do, I think. The ink, by the way, dries very quickly on the Stampin' Up cardstock, so everything's from Stampin' Up that I've used. Very vanilla. This guy, what we haven't done is just a smidgy bit. I'm going to call it watercolour. It's not really. It's a damp brush is what we're going to use. I'm just going to spray. I'm actually just spraying my brush with some water, just so that it's just damp enough to pull some of that ink out. This is not, you can get away with doing this on the basic cardstock, just a little bit of brushing out of the colour like this, but if you're going to do anything full on watercolour techniques, you really do need to use proper watercolour paper, so that the fluid 100 paper is the one you want if you are shopping in the Stampin' Up catalogue. That's what you want. But this is literally just the dampness of my paintbrush, which is just moving the ink from the line art. I'm just going to do a little bit on the greenery, just to sort of give it a bit of summit. That's all we're going to do, and that's it. Right, nothing fancy there at all. Just put that away, and we're going to pop him up onto some dimensional adhesive. Again, these are a Stampin' Up product, 300 dimensionals on a sheet in the pack, 100 per sheet. But all the edge strip is also really good for, like, you know, putting sentiment strips on and stuff like that. So you get a little bit more use than that. It's because look, I've collected all my strips on there ready to go. So keep all the bits, you can use the entire sheet. And I've put those more in the middle because it's kind of nice to have them away from the edge, so that when you're looking at the card across on a mantelpiece, you don't see the foam sticking out. Let's see if we can make sure the deer doesn't look like he's drunk. He looks straight, right? Let's put him there. Then all that's left is to add the sentiment, which we're going to do with Pacific Point. So again, we're just going to do some light tapping with the onto the ink pad, and you can see the ink is on there. I'd already made sure that the stamp was lined up, so I do that by lining it up on grid paper. I'll show you how I do that in a moment. And I'm just looking side to side, up and down. Is that look alright? I think so. I don't often stamp my sentiments straight on the card because I'm fearful of messing it up, but there we are. That's come out great. So what I mean about lining up the stamp is, if you got some something that hasn't got so much muck on it. So if we were to just use this piece of grid paper as an example, it's got all the lovely lines on it, and I'm just going to clean it off a little bit, just quickly. So on this particular image, it's got a lovely straight edge across the bottom, so what I can do is I can put that face down on my grid paper and line it up with one of the lines on there, okay, and then when I come in with my acrylic block, I can hover over the top of that and also line it up with one of the lines, whichever one looks like it's going to end up with the stamp in the middle, because you want the stamp central and your stamps on your block so it doesn't rock about. And when you're happy that's straight, you pick it up. So theoretically, if you're lining up your block with something else that's square on your project, your image should end up straight. So in this particular instance, we've got a nice straight edge on the stamp, but some of them don't. So it's worth having a go, and then obviously on your scrap you can then go, actually let's just see if it works. If I line it up with that line, am I going to get a nice straight image? And yes I do. Okay, so that's another little tip for lining up stamps. There are stickers that you can get for the back of your stamps, so instead of it just being plain grey, you see how it was grey on the back? There are stickers that come in the sets now to put on the back to help with the positioning, but that depends on you actually getting them on straight as well, so I always like to check that they're straight anyway, regardless of that. So just a quick digression there to show you that in more detail. But yeah, so now we've got two of them. Yay! So very easy to replicate, not too challenging in terms of techniques. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do click below. There is a link to a blog post which will link all the products I've used whilst making this project, and there'll be some quick links to the stamp set in there. So if you click on that link, it will take you straight to the Stampin' Up shop, or my Stampin' Up shop rather, and you can purchase directly from there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again soon. Ta-ta!